Welcome back to the Coach Mack Show, our senior night edition this past week, Clinch County. Coach, we had senior night, all the festivities before the game. Seniors out there from cheerleading, softball, football.
And band.
And band.
Yep.
And band.
Yeah, senior night's always a big night. I told the players this, and I've told them in the past that, when I was coming up through football in high school and even in college, in high school we didn't have a senior night because I remember our coaches always explained to us, when you're a senior, every time you take the field, it's your night to play. It's your night to be a senior. And we used to call it Parents' Night, Parents' Game, to where really we got an opportunity to honor the parents. And we call this senior night, but I think it's a real great opportunity to recognize these kids' parents. Oh, yeah. And because I know that, these are the same, their parents, have went through a lot with these kids, of course, and transporting them to all these practices from rec league, junior high, then traveling all over the state, watching them play different sports, not just football, but all of our sports. So it's a big night for the parents, and we really, I told our players to make sure that we recognize them also, and for what they've done for you and what our parents have done for this program. And, just to mention, we had 14 football seniors, and our seniors real quick, just to mention their name: Malik Bronson, Scott Birchall, Tevis Dasher, Mac Barlow, Brandon Dale, Cavante Nash, Kurt Nixon, T.J. Wilson, Brandon Green, Levi Cribb, Jay Cruz, Hodges Hunter, Trent Mahoney, and Caleb Johnson. And then we have one cheerleading, that's Shirley Pollock, one cheerleading senior, and I know we had several band and so forth. I don't know all their names, but I mean,
a bunch of them.
But we had a nice pep rally for the seniors, and then also before the game, we encouraged everybody to be there early, recognize our seniors, but also, like I said, just as important, recognize their parents.
It's an accomplishment for the parents.
It really is. It really is. And I know last year I had a daughter who was a senior cheerleader, senior softball player, and being out there with them, with her, it was really very, very special. It's a night that I'll never forget, and it's one of those nights where you can't help but reflect, how quickly this has come. And I told our freshmen last week, I said, fellas, right now you're a freshman, you think you're almost, this isn't moving along very quickly, but before you know it, you're going to be the one standing out there with your parents, being recognized at your last home football game. And it's going to happen very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah. It flies.
It's hard to believe. You being a parent and Chris over there and myself, we can think back at when it wasn't long, but our kids were very, very little and all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. And now they're starting to get grown. So it's a special night for the parents and for the players and for me, because I've seen a lot of these kids since they've been early in junior high come up through.
Watch them grow up.
Watch them grow up. Remember them as junior high football players, some of them even before that, and watching them come in as freshmen. And I always told these kids, our freshman class is always big. Sometimes we've had as many as 25, nearly 30 freshmen come out initially. And I tell them, I say, it would be fantastic if this was the senior class come 4 years from now, but it never is. And then you kind of whittle it down, and they whittle themselves down, and kids go different directions. And then at the very end, this is what you got. These are your seniors. So it's really something to see. These 14 kids, young men, look forward to seeing what they do in the future, the kind of husbands they'll be, parents they'll be, and seeing what kind of careers they choose, and hopefully they do great things.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt, no doubt about it. And they're having a fine football season, too. Nice way to finish your senior year. One loss so far to this point.
Yep. Really a great year for our seniors. And, right now we're 8-1. Hopefully finish 9-1. But, we talk about this year has been, we haven't had a lot of what you'd call really blowouts. We've had some tight football games. Yeah. Football games that in the fourth quarter, we're still this thing's in doubt. Just about, a lot of them have been like that, really. Yeah. So this has been a season where we've really had to work for our victories. Unlike we've had years in the past where halftime it would be over and so forth. But this group right here has had to really, play hard, stick it out, and fight through some adversity. And that's one thing when you get to know these kids as well as our coaches and myself have. you go through some things with them, and you see some of the adversity that we've talked about with some of these seniors that they've had to overcome to make it to this point. Of course, we're always very proud of these kids, and again, sometimes you look at them and you think, how are we going to continue without this guy?
Oh, yeah.
You know, but we always have to. We always do. They'll graduate. They'll move on. Like we always tell them, the old saying is, you know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You know, you got to go somewhere, and then we'll move on and do the best we can. And when this group graduates, to find people to fill in for them.
Well, that's the thing about sports, particularly football. To me, is a lot of times some of these kids have different home lives. You know, that were not, you know, what do you call traditional. And football provides a foundation.
It really does. I mean, the thing about football, I think really unlike any other sport, just because of the size of the roster, is you can go around this locker room and we can talk about each and every kid, and each and every kid's going to have different home situation. They've been brought up, some of them a little easier than others, and their family situation's different, and they've had to overcome certain things. Some players, you know, like Brandon Green, who's a senior, who has, you know, had to deal with a lot of injuries. Right. Malik Brunson, you know, tough situation, lost his mother this last spring, and has had to suffer a real devastating football injury. I mean, right. He'll be fine, but as far as he lost his senior year of football because of an injury very early. Stories like that, guys that have come to our program later in their career, like Mac Barlow, have made a great impact in our football program. Just lucky to have him move here and play for us. So, yeah, each player in this locker room, each person has a different story, and they, just about everybody. Who do you know that hasn't had to overcome something?
I'm telling you.
And as a coach, you know, as a coach, especially today, you really, with the family situations the way they are, as a coach, you have to really step in a lot of times and make sure kids are, you know, getting to the doctors like they're supposed to when they're injured, or sometimes you have to help meet those needs that a kid has, and so forth. So it's you know, it's really as a coach, it's always challenging, and it's always something that each kid you see come along, you have to deal with, of course, a little differently, of course.
Coach, well, on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this message.
The Folkestone Pharmacy, your original hometown pharmacy for over 45 years, is a proud sponsor of Charlton Sportsnet broadcasts. Folkestone Pharmacy accepts insurance from most local employers, including the City of Folkestone, Charlton County, Babcock and Wilcox, AJM, Charlton Memorial Hospital, and many others. The Folkestone Pharmacy wishes the Indians best of luck this season.
All right, welcome back to the Coach Mack Show. We were just discussing our seniors. Coach, let's dive into the game Friday night, senior night. Huge rivalry, Clinch County. No matter how we beat Clinch, it's always a good thing.
It's always good to beat your rival, and Clinch County is without a doubt our rival. And I'll tell you, that's a very, very good Clinch County football team.
They were.
A lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, a lot of talent over on that side. And I know I talked maybe earlier in weeks past about how I felt like they were one of the top 4 teams in the state. We came away with a win, but I still believe that they still may be one of the top 4 teams in the state. They're that talented. You know, sometimes you win a game and you just come out of it thinking, I don't know how we did it. We're happy we did it. Things went our way. You know, there is such a thing as good fortune, luck, whatever you want to call it, and we had it on our side. We did have some good play, though. You know, starting off the game, very first offensive play of the game, went for a touchdown. Andrew Lee took it. We had some good blocking on the edge, and he took it out there and went for a touchdown. You know, that's always a good feeling when you score on the first play. But again, what I found as a coach, what concerns you is you've worked all week to build up focus, you know, some intensity, focus. And in one play, you almost can lose it like that because you score. Next thing you know, you go from being focused to jubilant, and you got to get it back. And so I was concerned right after we scored that touchdown that we might lose our focus.
A little bit of deja vu with the Irwin thing.
And kind of think that, hey, this thing's going to be easy, or we got this thing. But it was a hard-fought game. They made great plays. We made some great plays. There's really a lot of good defense being played out there. their defense is outstanding. Our defense has done a really good job all year long. Of course, I think Andrew Lee had 167 yards, I believe, and a couple touchdowns, which puts him at 1,213 yards on the season already, and 17 touchdowns this year. And Andrew missed pretty much 2 games with injuries, so he's done a great job. He's our guy. That's how we get up and down the field with Andrew. Clinch County knew that. Clinch County did everything they could to stop it, but Andrew still had some really good runs. Our offensive line really felt like they had a really good game. Levi Cribb is one of our players of the week. Played right offensive guard. Levi had a really, really good game on the offensive line. Really pleased with him. Our passing game, we threw the ball for over 100 yards, and, of course, the winning touchdown pass, Jimmy to Kurt Nixon. We did have some problems in the passing game. We threw a couple interceptions, one for a touchdown, which more than anything, that was really some miscommunication. When you see a ball thrown to where there's no offensive player and a defensive player,
somebody usually
there's some miscommunications, and I'll take a lot of blame for that because we were trying to check out of a play that we felt like wasn't there. We didn't get the communication across, so I'll take blame for that. And Jimmy threw it where he thought the receiver was going to be. It goes the other way for a touchdown. So that's something that happens. But I'm really glad that we have been able to step up in our passing game, make plays in the passing game, and that's really key because if people come in to play us, they're going to look and say we got to stop number 8 Lee. And they're right, they have to. But Jimmy has really come a long way. Jimmy has thrown the ball for 1,100 yards, and he's averaging, about 125 yards a game. Has thrown 8 touchdowns. So, and then we have receivers like Kurt Nixon with 37 catches, Cavante with 18, Scott Birchall with 14, Ethan Sauls with 8. So right there, we're spreading the ball around pretty good. So that's been a big key for our offense. The fact is, if the running game is being shut down, we can get out there and throw the ball around. So really pleased that we were able to do just enough offensively to get the job done, and score just enough points.
There you go.
And in the scoring department, going over to our defense really did a great job of holding Clinch for the most part in check. We gave up the one big run by number 5, who's going to South Carolina recruit. Gave up a touchdown to him. But other than that, we were able to hold them. They had no yards passing.
Right.
They were able to run for over 200 yards. We did give up some plays there. But again, big plays on defense. We had the safety. I guess that would be more special teams.
Yeah.
They had a bad snap on a punt. Tevis Dasher rushed through there and got their guy down in the end zone, which was able to that would give us a safety there. And then and also in the special teams, we made 3 extra points. Right there's 5 points. We won by 4. So big part of the game. But on defensive side, Tevis I believe he had a sack in the game, had a safety in the game. And then Tevis also, the huge play. We threw an interception down by the goal line. Their guy picked it, and Tevis is a smart football player. I know we're going to talk about Tevis in a little bit as our senior spotlight, but the play he made,
huge.
The smart play he made, he went over, realizing a tackle's not what we need. A tackle, the game's over. It's their game. So he strips the ball. Levi Cribb going over there. Levi playing a little bit more defense lately. Falls on the ball. So right there are 2 of our players of the game. Those weren't the only plays they made, but maybe the biggest plays of the year.
Might be.
Just an incredibly intelligent play by Tevis Dasher, stripping the football. And that's something we work on. That's just not by luck. We work on, we talk about stripping the ball, we talk about turnovers, and Tevis executed perfectly. Levi fell on it, came back. I believe we ran 1 offensive play to no gain at all. Then we were able to set up our throwback pass, which the pass was a good pass, but the catch was even better by Kurt Nixon for the touchdown. That was really huge. And then, of course, the defense, played that prevent defense perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Didn't let nobody behind him. We were able to come up with the win.
I had read where Clinch over the previous 3 games, not including Friday night, they were well over 30 points a game.
That, and they've also had, I think, 2 games where they had 600 yards offense.
Yeah.
600 yards offense. I know they've had at least one with over 400 yards offense, scoring all kinds of points, scoring well over 40 points, could score more on people. The films we watched, they were scoring 40 points by the third quarter.
Yeah.
Could have hung up another 20 points probably on people. So for us to hold them at 19 is really just a gigantic.
And only 12 of those were offensive.
Exactly, 12 of them for their offense. So again, big shout out to our defense. Great job. Our defensive coordinator Norris Woods Jr. Norris, played for me, has done a great job with the defense, and then David Pender, who also played for me, coaching the defensive backs, just doing a great job, and then Coach Bill Shepard doing the defensive line. Those guys have done a tremendous job with that group. But again, I don't think we're a fast defense, but we're a defense who plays sound, lines up solid, lines up most of the time right, and takes good angles most of the time right. And we've had some guys that are playing incredible football on the defensive side. Probably nobody more than Anthony Jackson, our leading tackler. Again, he had 10 tackles this game. He leads our team with, I think it's 67 tackles on the year this far, 67 tackles. And the second place guy, we have 2 guys with 37 tackles. So he's 30 tackles above and beyond the next place guy. And he had to miss a game from an injection early in the year. So that's with 1 less game than a lot of these guys. So
and he had several Friday in the backfield.
Yep, several plays where he comes downhill fast and makes plays. Anthony Jackson having a great year on the defensive side of the ball.
Let's sidetrack a little bit. You mentioned your coaches that had played ball for you. Does that ease the transition?
Well,
when they already know what to expect?
Yeah, one thing it helps me is they understand the way it used to be. They understand how I can be and so forth. And they kind of fall right in line with my philosophy because they grew up with it. And having former players as my assistant coaches is a great thing because they have high expectations. Just like a lot of these guys, Coach Woods was a member of the first state championship team back in '99. David Pender was part of these 3 in a row up here behind us, 3 state championships. So they understand what it takes to win state championships. They've seen Charlton County football at the highest level. Coach Russ Murray played for me my first year as an assistant, and Coach Murray he went through some tough times as a football player here. Didn't win many football games, and took a beating by the folks like Clinch County. And then he came on as an assistant when this thing really got going big, so he understands what it was like when it was at its worst.
Right.
And he was here as a coach during the state championship years. So he understands the perspective as a player when it was really bad, understands it as a coach when it's been really good. So all that's been great stuff right there. So those guys really understand. It's really important. I've said one time earlier in my coaching career, it'd been great to have, build your staff with a lot of guys who played for you. So, young guys with a lot of energy, and that's what Coach Woods and Coach Pender really bring is a lot of energy. Even Coach Murray's not a really young guy anymore, but he brings a lot of energy to the offensive line and the offensive side of the ball. So it's good to have those guys, former players, always Indians.
Stepping right in.
Always Indians coaching for me.
Can I ask you a little bit about strategy without giving away too much? I noticed in the second half you moved Mookie over to the offensive line. Was that directly combat the D1 prospect?
It was. I mean, the guys we have over on the offensive side, Jay Cruz and Trip Mahoney, those guys have done a great job all year long. But not taking anything away from those guys, they have come so far and they've done such a great job. But there's times when we feel like we need to take Mookie, who's a real explosive athlete, a big kid, and also bring in Tion Burrows from the defensive side and put him on the offensive line. So, Mookie came in and he went against, but I want to tell you, Jay in the first half, Jay Cruz, this kid's going to the University of Georgia after next year. He's got 1 more year of high school. But Jay Cruz did a great job against number 81, the University of Georgia committee. So Jay has nothing to be ashamed of. I thought Jay did a great job early in the game blocking him, and I thought Jay did a really good job in pass protection. We did have a breakdown, and he did have the sack, but there was just a time when we felt like we wanted to bring those guys in the game to give us just a little bit more explosive athlete playing those positions. And again, bringing Mookie in, going against that guy. I know Mookie was excited all week long because he wanted to see what it was like going against a guy like that, who's probably about 1.5 feet taller than Mookie. But again, I thought Jay did a great job against the kid. I really did, and I was really proud of the job he did.
All right. Coach, on that note, we're going to take a short break and come back with our senior spotlight, number 7, Tevis Dasher.
All right.
Okefenokee Rural Electric Membership Corporation offers more than dependable electrical energy at a competitive price. Quality service is provided by a friendly and professional staff trained to meet your every electrical power need, whether residential, commercial, or industrial. If you have any questions or need information, call us at 1-800-262-5131. Okefenokee REMC, owned by those we serve. A proud sponsor of this year's Indian football broadcast.
All right, welcome back to the Coach Mack Show, our senior spotlight, number 7, Tevis Dasher, Coach.
Tevis Dasher, his dad, Stanford, played for me. My first year as head football coach, Stanford Dasher, number 3, played defensive end for me and always begged me to play running back. And he played some running back also. And of course, I knew Tevis's mom when she was a student out here, Felicia Dasher. And, of course, there comes Tevis out of that. And Tevis is a high-energy player. And Tevis is a football player. If you've noticed Tevis here lately, he's been having a limp, playing with a limp. He's got a banged-up knee, but it's one of those things where he's a real football player now. He don't want nobody to touch it, nobody to look at it. He wants to just put some tape on it and go. And Tevis he's a kid that does a good job in the classroom. He's someone that really wants to go to college and play some more football, and I believe he'll have that chance. And I think Tevis could be a guy down the road. He mentions in the program he wants to become a science teacher or a physical therapist. Either one, he'll bring a lot of energy to it. Either way he decides to go. But Tevis, I think, would be a good high school football coach. Because he loves the game, he has a passion for the game, he brings a lot of energy also to it. So I know Tevis is someone who's played a lot of football around here. He's been in the program for a long time. He's a little bit of a throwback player that we've talked about in the past, where he just loves the football game, plays through injury. You're not going to see him take himself out. You're not going to see him complain about bumps and bruises and different kinds of things. He's going to play through it. He's a guy that actually, during practice, probably one of the best players we have that bring energy to the practice field as well as the game field. But again, Tevis is a guy that has done a lot of really good things for us, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Last week, Tevis had the big safety. He'll come up with big plays, and maybe the biggest play of his career, biggest play of the year, when he creates a fumble. He strips the ball out of the defender's hands, and gives us the ball back with a chance to win the football
Against your
game.
biggest rival?
Yeah, and against the biggest rival. And Tevis has made a lot of plays, 37 tackles for us. Tevis has also had a sack. He's also leads the team in 5 interceptions. Also has 4 fumble recoveries. So on the defensive side of the ball, Tevis is everywhere. Offensive side of the ball, he's along with A.J. Bell, he's one of our backup quarterbacks, and he just has an attitude in the weight room, an attitude on the football field where you can tell he really loves to be there. And I really hope and I really believe he will have a chance to play some more football after this year. But again, Tevis he's our senior player of the week. He's a guy that a guy that we really depend on. He's one of our leaders. And people have watched Charlton County football over the last 4 years, have seen him play a lot of ball.
They know he's out there.
An awful lot of football. So we're really proud of him. One of my second-generation players.
There you go.
Coached his dad, now coached his son. And I don't know if I'll be around long enough to maybe coach Tevis' son, but and he don't have one yet, so that's good. I'm not saying that he has one, but Tevis doesn't have one yet. And so hopefully I won't be around long enough for that. So anyway, but great kid. I love the kid. I love the guy, and it's been a lot of fun coaching him, and so hopefully he'll have a great future.
Would you like to have that energy on your sideline in 5 or 6 years after college?
That'd be great. That'd be great. It'd be something to all of a sudden, 5 or 6 years from now, turn around, there's Tevis Dasher coaching for me. That'd be something. And, you know, it could happen. Could happen. If that's the route he chooses, I think he'll do a great job. And I'd love to have him back on my coaching staff. It'd be a lot of fun. It would be interesting. We'd have a lot of stories to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And, from the good old days, and, you know, in that coach's office over there, there's a lot of evenings after practice where we'll stick around to 1 or 2 hours after practice, and we'll just talk about old days and stories and these old players we used to have. So you never know, Tevis may be part of that those discussions someday.
When you get Chris to stick a mic in there when you're not looking?
I don't think you want a lot of the conversations that are goes on in there, but I mean, there is some conversations that go on, but it's a lot of fun.
All right, Coach, I appreciate it, and congratulations to Tevis. And you hear that, Tevis? You have a job. Go to college.
Come back and be a teacher and a coach for us.
There you go. All right, when we come back, we're going to discuss Lanier County.
Radio Shack, located at 3885 Main Street inside the Folkestone Pharmacy, is your local Page Plus and Dish Network retailer. Radio Shack carries a variety of computers, tablets, smartphones, and other electronics. The Shack in Folkestone is proud of our student athletes and wishes them the best of luck this season. Now, let's go get 'em Indians.
Welcome back to the Coach Mack Show. We're going to discuss Friday night's opponent on the road, Coach, going up to, I'll say it, Lanier County. So we're going up there to play the Bulldogs.
Yep, Lanier County Bulldogs, Lakeland, Georgia. Hopefully we have a big crowd there, last regular season game. And Lanier County is, and again, I believe they're 1-8 right now. And it's hard to explain to people, and I know it's hard to get people to believe you, but they may be the best 1-8 football team in the country. And I'm not exaggerating. They have tremendous size, tremendous athleticism. Their coach, Coach Johnson, is a great coach. Does a great job with that program. Every football game they've played, they have been in. They've had the lead at times, every game. And they've only managed to come by with one win. Now, I'm telling you, this team is a good football team.
Play here or there, they get over the hump.
Yeah, they just need a little bit more time to get over the hump. I think their roster's not a real big roster, but they have some football players out there that have tremendous size and some tremendous athletes. Those people that come to the game or those people that tune in and watch it on your show, they're going to see a team that's much larger than we are and faster than we are. They just, like I said, they just haven't had enough of those players to get over the hump over the 4-quarter span. And trying to explain to our kids that this is a game, and football by nature is a physical, violent football. It's a game that if you're not playing at your very best and playing at full speed, you run a chance of getting hurt, and you're playing against a team that can beat us. I really, truly believe if we play anything less than our best, we can lose this football game. Now, getting the kids to understand it and getting the kids to believe that may be another story, but I really believe we will. I think we can get our kids to understand that we have to play our best. We are not good enough of a football team to go out and play anything less than our very best to have a chance to win. And explaining to the kids today, you know, you try to give them examples when you talk to these guys. And this week, a lot of people don't know, maybe a lot of people watching the show don't know that Atkinson County was tied with Irwin County with 4 minutes to go in the football game.
I saw that.
And Irwin County, the region champs and the number 2 team overall in the state of Georgia probably, maybe the number 1 team in the state of Georgia, had to score with about 4 minutes to go in the game to beat Atkinson County 21-14. You look at that, who'd ever thought? Now, you take it to this Saturday one more step further. Big topic of discussion around this part of the country is the Georgia-Florida game.
Yes, sir.
I mean, just looking at it on paper, Georgia should have been an overwhelming favorite. I mean, you just look at the season, how the season has went, and that sort of thing.
Score should have been the other way around.
Yeah, it really should have been the other way around. But you have a team that was extremely motivated and was focused on playing a great football game, and that's what happens. You have an upset. So, again,
one of those trap games.
This is something that we've got to really be careful with, because right now we feel like we have a good idea how the playoff bracket may be. We're happy with it. We're fine with it. Now, all that can change. We go over to Lakeland, Georgia, and we just fall apart and we get beat by a team that's very capable of beating us. This thing's changing. We may go from playing here to playing who knows where. We may be driving up the road quite a way. So it's a very important game. It's, people may wonder, well, you're going to rest some players, or you're going to hold some people out. We can't afford to, really can't. We've got to go into this thing playing our best with the best guys we have, and play it as though it's like last week.
Playoff game.
It's a playoff game because, again, right now we're sitting where we at least have one game at home. We don't want to lose that. We're playing for the opportunity to stay right here, which is a big deal. We haven't been able to say that for the last couple of years.
It's been a while.
It sure has. So we want to go over to Lakeland, play our very best. We have injury problems. We have some guys that are banged up. We have some receivers that are banged up. Well, we have actually who isn't banged up right now for us. It seems like every time we play, we look at not having to start somebody the very next week, a starter. And that's the same thing this week. We have 2 starters. Right, one's doubtful, one's questionable for this coming week. So we're concerned about that. And I'm telling y'all, this Lakeland County football team, this Lanier County football team, is very, very good.
Yeah.
They're a very good football team, extremely well coached. Their scheme is outstanding. They got great athletes, great size. Hopefully we'll have a big crowd over there. Hopefully there's a lot of enthusiasm and support. And it's a game that I'm worried about. I really am.
Yeah. Well, they'll be highly motivated too. You have Charlton County coming to town. We're a playoff team. They're struggling. Their seniors want to go out with a bang. There's a lot of motivation over there.
There sure is, and they're in a situation similar to, well, the Florida Gators last week. What do they got to lose? I mean, you fake a field goal for a touchdown. What do you got to lose? I mean, so we've got to be ready for absolutely everything from Lanier County. We've got to be ready.
All right, Coach. On the offensive defensive side of the ball, I know we talked about last week about Clinch's D1 prospects. Players over there like that, or players to watch?
They've got players that may be a little young to be, committed or anything, but they have college-level football players. They have a bunch of tall kids, big, strong guys that run well. I really believe when it's all said and done over the next couple of years, off this Lanier County football team, you're going to see some college football players come off this team. Why they haven't won a bunch of games, not just a few more, but a bunch of games, again, they have a small roster, just haven't been able to quite get over the hump.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it could start any time. Everybody that has played them, and I've talked to nearly every coach that has played them, and they all said, you better be ready. They're good enough to beat you. They're going to hit you. They got great athletes, great size. So that's what we're really selling to our players. This is a team that athletically, talent-wise, as good as anybody we've played.
Right.
Better than a lot of people we've played. So if we're not ready, we can get beat.
All right, Coach. Let's move on into the possible. I know you don't like to look too far ahead. We never do on the show. But let's look at the power rankings, maybe possible playoff scenarios coming into the following week. Will there be a bye, or are we going straight into the playoffs?
We will have a bye. We'll have an open week, which I'm not really crazy about, but it may be a good thing for us because, like I said, we are as beat up right now as we've ever been since I've been here in the last 25 years. So the bye week, I think, is going to be a good thing for us. Right now, when you look at the power rankings, I think we're in the top 4, maybe 5 at the worst in it. But that's not the way it's going to be. The way it's going to be is the top slots are reserved for your region champions. And right now, I think we're going to have 3, maybe 4 public school region champions. So the top 4 spots or so, the top spots will go to them. Irregardless of power rankings, it will go to them.
Right.
Then after that, then you're going to open it up to everybody, and you go by the power rankings. The way people are saying is we're probably going to be the 5th team overall. Or that's possibly the 5th or 6th team overall, which will put us at home, which is good, which people think that it's going to be Jenkins County. Right here, Jenkins County from Mullen, Georgia, right around Statesboro, Georgia. We'll have them probably come down here. That's what we're thinking. And if we're successful there, and they're having the best year they've had maybe ever.
Really?
They've got a lot of talent, a lot of speed. I have had time to go and look at them a little bit on tape and go and talk to people, and they say that they're very athletic, very talented football team, playing really good right now. And if we can get by them, then you're probably looking at us riding to Hawkinsville, Georgia, and playing the team that has the #1 defense, not just in single A, but statistically speaking, one of the top defenses in the entire state of Georgia. So that's kind of how it's shaping up. I mean, if things were to work out, things were to fall into line, again after Friday nights, things could be shaken up. You never know. We could slide maybe a little bit down. We might be able to slide one up, but we won't slide very far up because there's no way we can be a region champion. Those spots are reserved for the region champions. There might be a region champion or two. We may be higher in the numbers, power rankings, but them winning the region title puts them over us. But I think it's getting close to being just about set in stone. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't look for a lot of change, but it could be if things were to work out and we were to have that magical run like we did a year ago, it would probably, I think it could be Jenkins County here, ride to Hawkinsville, play them, ride to Marion and play them, and then face probably Clinch or Irwin in the Dome. That's if everything works out good, which I'm not counting on that, but that's kind of the way the brackets are shaping up. The bracket, people always say we got a bad bracket or we don't have a bad bracket. I think anybody would have told you last year that we had the worst bracket in the state. But look what happened. You don't know how it's going to play out. I mean, people say, well, you're going to Seminole, the #1 ranked team in single A. Well, it turns out they weren't the #1 ranked team in single A. But again, I'm not going to complain about our bracket. I'm not going to complain about it because we're happy to be there. There's a lot of football teams that would trade spots with you in a second to be in the playoffs. So we got a big game with Lanier County over there in Lakeland. A big game. We're not overlooking them. Can't overlook them. But when we get done with that, we will focus in on our next opponent, which, like I said, may be Jenkins County.
All right, Coach. Friday night kickoff 7:30. 7:30. So everybody needs to leave early. It's Chris, 2.5 hour, 3 hour ride, 2 hour ride. 2 hour ride.
MapQuest has it about an hour and a half, but give yourself 2 hours. It's all back roads, different ways to go. I believe MapQuest said it's 82 miles.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, I know with my family, they're going to have to stop and eat in Waycross and either before or after go to Walmart. So they got to figure in that. So it's on a school bus, we're looking at close to 2 hours. And but it'd be great. I know our kids love it when we have a big crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Our band loves it when their parents come. So hopefully have all the parents over there, and we just have a big crowd for folks to show up, fill up that side, and really be vocal and make a lot of noise for the Indians.
And Lanier's, they're a great host. They were great to us a couple of years ago. So great atmosphere. Everybody needs to travel over there and
really
pack the
is.
place.
They have a really high character coach, classy guy, Coach Johnson, and I'll tell you what, they are going to be a tough team to deal with. Really are.
All right. Well, good luck Friday night, Coach.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
see you Friday at 7:30, and this will do it for the Coach Mack Show.